All right, are we live? Welcome, everybody. I think we're live. Good evening. I hope you all had a wonderful day. If you're listening on the replay, I hope you're having a good day also. Oh, you know what? I'll pull my channel here real quick while I'm talking. I have up on the title. I gotta pull it up because I think it says problems with. Yeah, it says problems with the genealogy of Jesus. There you go. So we're going to talk about the problems with the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew and Luke. There's a lot of problems, and there's been apologists who try to smooth all over those problems, and you really can't. Yeah, I wish I had more time because I had a lot of tabs I was pulling up. So anyway, but that's okay. It is 9:50 p.m. Central Time, and is September 12th, 2023. And tonight's title again is Problems with the Genealogy of Jesus. Or maybe the geology of Jesus. Maybe that too. Actually, they're both problems. As we saw yesterday, we saw the geology problems with the geology of Jesus' birth. Now we're going to see the problems with the genealogy. Anyway, I hope y'all had a good day, and I'm going to get right into this because we've got a lot to cover. I've got a lot of tabs up right now because there's different parts to this genealogy stuff that we're going to go over. Let me make sure that I have it up. The two accounts, Matthew, first chapter in Matthew, and the first chapter in Luke. Wait a second. Did I pull it up? I hope so. I think I have them both on one site. So Matthew and Luke both go over the genealogy of Jesus, trying to show that Jesus came from the bloodline of David, because you have to do that in order to be the Messiah. You must come from the bloodline of David, not the hometown of David. You don't have to come from the same hometown. It doesn't matter where you're born. Right? He had to be the bloodline of David. So yesterday we showed that they went bent over backwards, both Matthew and Luke, to try to prove that he was born in Bethlehem, which is kind of silly and funny, because the Messiah doesn't need the Old Testament. The prophesied Messiah from the Old Testament does not need to be born in Bethlehem. It has nothing to do with it. Your bloodline, your family tree, has to come from the king line of David. And as a matter of fact, not only David, but it has to come through down through Solomon, not Nathan. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over, oh man, we got a lot to go over. So, when you can go look, there's on YouTube, there's a lot of videos about this, the contradictions in Matthew and Luke's genealogy. This has been an issue for a long time. It's been a discussion for a long time. And so if you go on YouTube and type in contradictions in, I could do it, contradictions in, oh, you know, I got to get this first. And I'll just show you. So Matthew, here it is. Good. I knew I had it up. I got it both on one Bible Gateway. So we got the story of Matthew's, Matthew's version of Jesus' bloodline, and then you have a whole nother version as Luke's bloodline, Luke's version of Jesus' bloodline, coming down from trying to prove that he's from the bloodline of David. So Matthew and Luke chapter 1 both try to prove that Jesus is from the bloodline of David, but their stories don't match at all. And chapter 2 of Matthew and Luke both, tell you the story of um, how and why Jesus was born in Bethlehem. And they both have completely different stories. So step A, they want to prove that he's from the bloodline of King David, which they fail. And then step 2, they wanted to prove that he was from the town of born in the town of Bethlehem, which they also I don't want to keep saying they fail, but I don't think they made a good case. And their stories are completely different. One's got a completely different story how they got born. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where the Messiah is going to be born. It doesn't matter. They didn't have to be born in Bethlehem. And in fact, probably nobody after David even was born after Bethlehem. They all kind of moved, you know what I mean? So David was probably the last in his own family to be born there. There's not a word in the prophecy about having to be born in Bethlehem. It's silly. All right. So I'm going to get started here, but I need to grab a book. Just jack this up because we've got a lot to go over, you guys. So when you see these videos and they try to say like, oh, well, we'll get to that. I'm going to show you. You're going to be able to debunk any apologists because that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they are, a Christian apologist. They will try to explain this away, but I'm going to show you how it can't be done. And there's a lot of videos that are showing you what I'm showing, kind of. Maybe not all of it, because I'm going to go to multiple aspects about this. But the bloodline alone, yeah, you can see videos on that where people are trying to explain away why they're different. There's other videos that are just flat out pointing it out, like I'm going to do in part of this stream tonight. So that's the plan for tonight. So let me get a little closer and we'll get started here because like I said, there's a lot to go over. So hopefully everybody will get something out of this and learn something new. That's what I like to do. I like to learn something new. So I just learned something new right before I came on earlier. Earlier, I learned I was watching a Chinese chef. He's a retired chef, but he was a Chinese chef all his life, and the family makes videos with him cooking. And I just learned how to make Mongolian chicken, which is awesome. So that's what I learned today, how to make Mongolian chicken. So let's see, which is one of my favorites. All right. All right. The problem is when I turn this screen on and turn the light down, I don't know. There it goes. I guess it's better. Never mind. All right. I'm gonna get some of these commercials off here that you got ads popping up. So let me what was I just gonna do? Hold up that. But anyway, here's what we're gonna go through first. Matthew 1 and Luke 1. Now, when you go into the Gospels, say you're new and you're going to go into the Gospels and read the New Testament. So first, what you start off with is Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the 4 Gospels, then Acts, then all of Paul's letters, and so on. Well, they're all letters after the Gospel, and basically, well, actually, Luke is a letter too, because he's writing to Theophilus or whoever he's writing to, the same person he wrote to when he wrote Luke. So Luke is actually a letter to, I think it's Theophilus. I can't remember. I should probably figure it out right now. Anyway, so they're all letters. Okay, I'm looking for the bloodline. Luke's bloodline. I think it's in, is it 1 or 2? All right. Maybe it's in Luke 2. I think it might be in Luke 2. There you go. All right. Yeah. Oh, bet it is. But I have these up, and I'm going to read Matthew 1 and I've got pictures. I've got all kinds of stuff. So, and I've got visuals that will make it easier to follow these bloodlines. Pull that up real quick. And I'm going to go over, here's what I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over, first of all, how you have to have the bloodline go through the dad. It's how it is. It's the way it was back in the Jewish law back then when this was getting written. So only men, and I'm going to show that. Then we're going to read the genealogies. We're going to read the genealogies of both versions, Matthew and Luke's version, which are different. We're going to see them side by side. And I'm going to debunk some of these apologists' reasons why this is. There's a lot of videos where people are trying so hard, like putting a square peg in a round hole or whatever. They're trying so hard to make this fit. Try to explain how they can be both one. How this cannot be two different bloodlines, even though it looks intelligent, and it is two different bloodlines. But we're going to see them side by side. And I'm going to show you what they'll try to tell you. And I'm going to debunk what they're going to try to tell you real easily. Oh, shoot. All right. And there's all kinds of laws in the Old Testament, which I will refer to, that that also tell you that the bloodline has to come from the dad. Now, not saying that, hey, say you had no idea who your dad was, but your mom is Jewish. Then you are Jewish according to the laws. But it doesn't mean that your family tree is going to have your mom in it. But you are recognized as a Jew. Even if you go leave the Jewish faith, you are still considered Jewish because your mother's Jewish. So I'm going to just show you real quick that there's multiple verses in the Old Testament that prophesied that the Messiah would be a descendant of King David, as you can see here. I think I need another book. One more book. So whoever is writing Matthew and Luke, now Matthew is a very Jewish book, so Matthew might have been written by somebody Jewish, I don't know, but Matthew is definitely Jewish and aimed at the Jewish audience more than any other one. So but Matthew and Luke is not. Luke is definitely just writing to the to Theophilus or whoever that was or whatever. He's not a disciple. He wasn't with Jesus. Luke is a writer who's reporting back to if I had here, I got a Bible right here. Let's see if I can find it. There's a really old Bible, so Matthew, Mark, Luke. In Luke, Now, Luke was never a disciple, never met Jesus. He didn't know Jesus. Wasn't. I think it's the first chapter, the first sentence. Let me see. Where is it? For as much as I have taken. Here it is. So I'm just going to show you if you can see. Luke was not a disciple. Luke is, hey Grace, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Hope you had a wonderful day. So in Luke chapter 1, verse 3, I don't know if you can see that. Here, I'll do this. You see right there, it says, "O Theophilus." Let me see. I have a nail here. Let's see. "O Theophilus." Where is it? Right here. "O Theophilus." Most excellent Theophilus. Okay. Luke is writing a letter to this person, "O Theophilus." Well, he calls him Theophilus, or the most excellent Theophilus, whatever you want to call him. So it seemed good for me also having the perfect understanding of all things. So Luke is writing this letter to Theophilus. He's not a disciple. And also, when you get to the book of Acts, this is the first letter that Luke wrote to Theophilus. Like I said, he never even met Jesus. And when you get to the book of Acts, it's funny, I turned right to it. In the book of Acts, and I'll show you, Luke is also writing this one. And this is the second. It used to be called Luke 1 and Luke 2, the first and second letter to Luke. But it says right here, it starts right off. "A former treatise have I made, O Theophilus, of Jesus." So this book of Acts is also written by Luke to Theophilus. Both books were written by Luke to Theophilus. He wasn't a disciple or anything like that. Luke is out taking tabs on, keeping tabs on Paul is what he was doing. And so, anyway, but what Luke does know by being associated with Jews is that the Messiah, the prophesied Messiah in the Old Testament. Hi, Omar. Good to see you. The Old Testament prophesied the coming Messiah is supposed to come. He's supposed to be a descendant of King David. All right. So Matthew, having Jewish knowledge, and Luke being associated with Jewish people, both know that this Jesus has to come from the bloodline of King David. They don't know a whole lot more than that because they make a lot of mistakes. But this is one thing they do know. So two things they tried to do. One thing they try to do is show that he's from the bloodline of David. Matthew goes one way, Luke goes a different way. Two completely different stories, okay? You cannot, neither one of them can be true. I argue. I'm going to argue. But anyway, the bloodline, there's many prophecies about this, that upcoming Messiah is going to be a bloodline. So that's why Luke and Matthew start out going way out of their way trying to convince the audience that Jesus, A, is a bloodline descendant of David, and B, that he was born in Bethlehem. And you know what? There's no prophecy that said he has to come from Bethlehem. He is not. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter where the guy comes from, as long as he's a descendant of King David. Because even King David's kids, I don't even think they were from. I mean, so it's been a long time since any of even King David's relatives came from Bethlehem. So anyway, it's ridiculous to try to prove Jesus came from born out of Bethlehem, and they both tried hard. I showed last night. Matthew tried his way. Luke tried his way. Both trying to convince that he was born in Bethlehem. Two completely different stories, but for some reason they're convinced they have to show you that, and they didn't have to do that. Didn't have to do that. So the bloodline has to come from David, and there's lots of scriptures about that. And I'm just going to also show that. Let me find, where is I got so many tabs open. Here. Okay, so if you go to Wikipedia, it'll do a real brief. This is as quick as I can show you. The genealogies in the Bible. Oh, I have my camera. It's good. This is a real simple way to show that how they do the genealogies in the Bible. All right, my camera would not come on. A one and a two. There it goes. So the genealogies in the Bible, you could just look at this on Wikipedia. This is real simple, or you're going to check anywhere you want. But this is going to show you real quick. The genealogies have to go through the daddy, okay? Father, dad, Bob's. The book of Genesis records the descendants of Adam and Eve. The enumerated genealogy in chapters 4 and 5 and in chapter 11 reports the lineal male descendant to Abraham. All right. Always the male descendant. Always, always, always. It's never going to be a female in this lineage, okay? They really don't care who the mom is. That's why Jacob and all these people had children with as many women as they wanted because it just made them more kids. So the women are never listed in the genealogy, okay? Like I said earlier, if you are, it doesn't mean that, like I said earlier, if you don't know who your dad is or you can't prove who your dad is, but your mother is Jewish, then you are Jewish. The children are Jewish, but they're not in the family tree. And you'll see a lot of these apologists if you go on YouTube. In fact, I'll show you real quick if I, yeah. Okay. If you look up like problems with Jesus bloodline, okay, you'll see all these different, geology. They'll try to explain, most of them will try to explain it away. Mystery solved. Now, these are apologists and they're trying to, now here's one I would watch. This Tanakh talk here. This one will show you, I guarantee it. I wish I would have watched it. I watched it a long time ago, but anyway, a lot of these are going to try to, they're going to try to explain away why these bloodlines in Matthew and Luke are so different. Yeah, but I'm going to show you how to debunk these apologists because anyway, all right. So back to Wikipedia. I'm going to just show you again. So the enumerated genealogies, chapter 4, 5, and 11 reports the lineal male descendant to Abraham, including the age at which each patriarch, what's a patriarch? The highest ranking or whatever the, well, you know what patriarch means? Dad, father. Each patriarch fathered, it's always a dad, fathered his named son. So it has the father and the son and the son and the son. So father begat the son and he begat him and he begat him. You know how it goes. It was always the father and then down to the son and then to his son and the number of years which they lived thereafter. So not only do they have it clearly, I'll show you in a second. The genealogy for Cain is given in chapter 4. As a matter of fact, there's a contradiction there to the one bloodline doesn't even have Cain in it, which is weird. Or no, it doesn't have Abel in it. One of them it doesn't have in it, which is weird. Anyway, so here's an example, okay? Family tree of Adam. So we're just gonna show you this is how every family tree goes if they're Jewish. It's the dad, okay? So starting with Adam and Eve, the first two. So what did they have? Cain, Abel, and Seth, okay? Now, you know they had girls, but they're not on here. They're not even going to list the girls. They're not even mentioned. Girls are really irrelevant, okay? So they're going by the boys and the daddies and all that. So you got Cain, Abel, Seth. You got Enoch, Irad, Mahujael, Methuselah, Adam, or Ada, Lamech, Zebul, Jubal, Tubal, Cain, Naamah, Methuselah, Enoch, Zillah. You notice they're all men. Always going to be men. Seth, Enos, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, and so on and so forth. Ham, Shem, and Japheth, Noah, always the men, okay? No exception. There's never going to be a woman in the Jewish bloodline, okay? Period. You can study that out all you want. You're going to, you should. So I'm going to read, and we're going to, this is going to also show you lots of problems that we got going on with these bloodlines. They got women mixed in there. The daddies don't match up with the kids. Lots of problems. Okay. And oh boy. And if you don't know about the women in the bloodline, you're going to be a little surprised tonight. Yeah, I got a surprise for you. If you don't know who the women that they put in there, they shouldn't have put no women in the bloodline, but they did. I can't remember if it was Luke or we'll see in a second. You can't do that. So not only did they do that, but they did not. The women that very interesting. Okay, so we got that. All right, so let's get over to. I want to close these when I. All right. All right, so let's get over to the two versions. Look at this one. All right. I'm gonna pull up. We'll read it, but I'm gonna pull up. Oh, and I guess I'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to show you real quick before we get started. Pull up this genealogy. So Matthew is in the genealogy of Jesus. Remember, their goal here is to try to show you or convince you that he's coming from the bloodline of David. So Matthew tries to convince you with his little list here, his family tree. And in chapter 1, verse 2 to 16. And in Luke, excuse me, in Luke from 23 to 38, this is his list that he's going to try to convince you, which has got, both of these have got a lot of problems, okay? So I just want to show you that. So we're going to come back to that. We're going to compare them, okay, once we get done here. So we're going to go back over to Bible Gateway. And if I can find it. All right, Luke. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm both on the same page, one of these. All right, so it's Matthew 1 and Luke 3. And I'm going to pull out the English version so you can see where it starts and stops. And I'll pull this back on. Because you can pull them both up and compare. It's easier to do that. On Bible Gateway, you can. I don't know. I haven't tried it on other sites. I don't use Bible Gateway that much anymore. I like the Blue Letter Bible for lots of reasons. But anyway. But this is one thing I do know how to do on here is pull these up where you can have them on the same page. So as you can see, we're going to go through Matthew 1, the genealogy here of Jesus Christ. And then when you get down to that, we'll get to Luke 3, which also has the genealogy of Jesus Christ, a different one. All right, so we're going to read these, the two different ones. And you know what? It's real easy. And I'll admit for years I did the same. I have read the names and all that, but it's real easy to go, Jesus, when you get, blah, 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 begat the son of that, son of that, son of that, son of some. And then it's real easy just to go, blah, 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 blah. Where's the son part end? Okay, this is, all right, once they get done with the son, okay, then you can go on. So a lot of people do that. They'll just like skip over all these because blah, 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 right? Names, names, names. In fact, I have that picture. I had it on my thumbnail, but it's kind of too I was too busy to put on a thumbnail. Oh, I had this. I think I did. I put this one up. Jesus had a pretty shady family tree. Yeah, I'm going to show you about that. Why it's so shady. It is a shady family tree. That's not the one I wanted to show though. I thought I used it for a thumbnail. Maybe not. That's funny. Anyway, I don't know where the other one is. But anyway, so we're gonna read. We're gonna read. There are two versions. Oops. And so when you, anyway, we'll just read through it. So bear with us, okay? Because it is kind of boring. The genealogy of Jesus Christ, the book of genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. By the way, Matthew starts with Abraham and goes down to Jesus. Luke starts all the way at Adam and Eve and goes to Jesus. But they still don't match. Even once they get to Abraham, they still don't match at all. So anyway, Matthew, which is funny because Matthew has, I think, almost as many people as Luke does, and he's like going, anyway, thousands of years earlier. Anyway, so let's see what this says. This is Matthew chapter 1. By the way, I'm reading the English Standard Version because I read English, and it's by the way, it's also nice to have these headers on here so you know where one thing starts and the next thing ends. And that's one thing that they trick you with the King James is you don't know where one story starts and one ends. So anyway, that's one nice thing about the other versions. They will give you a heading, so you know that you're done with the last story. You're starting the next one now. And that's what King James doesn't have. And it's, I could go on about that, but I won't. I'm going to keep moving here. The genealogy of Jesus Christ. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David. All right, so this is what they're trying to prove. He's a son of David, because that means you're a descendant of King David, if you're a son of David. I'll move this back a little bit so you can see all of it. That might be better. All right. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, and Judah the father of Perez, and Zerah by Tamar, Perez the father of Hezron, and Hezron the father of Ram, and Ram the father of Amminadab, and Amminadab the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salmon, and Salmon the father of Boaz by Rahab, and Boaz the father of Obed by Ruth. So Boaz, they had different moms there, but they're still going by Boaz as the father. And Obed, the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father of King David. So that's how you got from Abraham to David. Now remember this, because I'm going to show you this all written out on a illustration. So, and David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah, and Solomon the father of Rehoboam, and Rehoboam the father of Abijah, and Abijah the father of Asaph, and Asaph the father of Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, and Joram the father of Uzziah, and Uzziah the father of Jotham, and Jotham the father of Ahaz, and Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, and Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, and Manasseh the father of Amos, and Amos the father of Josiah, and Josiah the father of Jeconiah, and Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the deportation to Babylon. So that would be the time, book of Daniel, that time, Babylon. And after the deportation of Babylon, they pick up the family tree again. Jeconiah, who was last seen right here, right there. All right. And after the deportation, so we'll pick up at Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel the father of Abuad, Abuad the father of Elkim, and Elkim the father of Azar, and Azar the father of Zadok, and Zadok the father of Achim, and Achim the father of Ulad, and Ulad the father of Eleazar, and Eleazar the father of Matam, and Matam the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who's called Christ. Now, I just want to show something very important here. Get this. And Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, whom Jesus was born, who's called Christ. Do you see what's going on here? This is Matthew's version. Matthew is the one who is the most Jewish, and so Matthew has a legal definition of a genealogy. Okay, and what is it? They're counting Joseph, the son of Jacob. Remember that, Joseph, son of Jacob. So Joseph, the husband of Mary, whom Jesus is born, is called Christ. So they're having on the family tree, they're having Jesus' daddy be Joseph, Jesus' grandpa be Jacob. I mean, Joseph. So grandpa, so Jesus, so Jesus' dad would be Joseph. Jesus' grandpa is Jacob. And as a matter of fact, I'll even show you that the Catholic tradition shows us. His name is actually something like Jacobian or something like that. And Jacob, the father. Okay, so I'm going to show you. That's kind of where it ends. So so get this. So all the generations of Abraham to David were 14 generations. For some reason, they want this to be very, very special bloodline. So you got 14 generations from David to the deportation of Babylon, which there's no prophecy about this. And then there's another 14 generations from the deportation of Babylon to Christ. So you got 14 from David to Babylon, another 14 from Babylon to the deportation of Babylon, and then another 14 generations of Jesus Christ. I'm going to show you. Oh, hey, Calvin, good to see you tonight. I was just thinking about you like yesterday. Hope you're doing well. All right, so this is actually, at least this has all men in it, okay? It has men. Daddy, 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 okay? So that's Matthew's version. Now we're going to go to Luke's version of Jesus' family tree. It's a different version. Good to see you, Calvin. I hope all is well with you and your family. All right. So Jesus, the bloodline of Jesus Christ starts. Oops, where is that? Oh, here it is. So in Luke, the bloodline of Jesus Christ, the genealogy of Jesus Christ is told in Luke chapter 3 from verse 23 to verse 38. Doing good? Awesome. Oh, I am blessed. Thank you. All right, the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So this is Luke's version. This one gets really messy. All right, Jesus, when he began his ministry, and oh man, I got to say something about this. When Jesus began his ministry, here's where you people get the idea that Jesus was 33 years old when he died, which is mixing two conflicting stories, just like that. Just like the nativity that we saw last night. They just blend two stories together. When Jesus began his ministry, he was about 30 years of age. All right. First of all, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They're called synoptic gospel. They were the first three written. First Mark, then Matthew, then Luke. They're the first three gospel written, and it was written after Paul died, and after 65 when Paul died. Paul had all his letters written. Then Mark wrote a gospel, then Matthew, then Luke. Okay. And then decades later, John wrote a gospel. And that's why that one's John is John, and the other three are synoptics, because the first three that were written are basically on the same page. And one of the things that basically they're all three on the same page about, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that Jesus' ministry was 1 year, not 3, 1 year. John is the one who gives you the, well, he reports, it never even says how long, but in John, you have a fall festival, a spring festival. Well, and so in the fall, you got, so you got the fall festivals. There's 7 festivals a year. They're in the spring and in the fall. There's 3 in one, and there's 4 in the other. I think the fall is 4, spring has 3. Anyway, so yeah, you're in John. You have a fall festival. Remember, they were going to the Feast of Tabernacles, and Jesus said, "You go. They don't like me." But then Jesus went and secretly and hid behind a bush or whatever. Anyway, so you got a fall festival, then a Passover, then another fall festival, then another Passover, then another fall festival, and then a Passover. So you have 3.5 years there if you count it. Fall festival, spring festival, fall, spring, fall, spring. Jesus is killed in spring in Passover in the spring festivals. So right there, you got 3.5 years. Ask anybody, how long was Jesus' ministry? They'll say 3.5 years. Well, that's funny because Matthew, Mark, and Luke, who wrote the originals, said it was 1 year. All right, so in Luke, when Luke who reports a 1-year ministry, Matthew and Mark, a 1-year ministry, all of them. So really, Jesus should have been 31 years old when he died, because Jesus, when he began his ministry, was 30 years of age. And according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, his ministry lasted 1 year. So really, he should have been crucified at 31. But you know how they like to use that 33. So what they're doing is adding this, the only account of Jesus' age in the whole New Testament, right here in the whole Bible. This is the only account of Jesus' age. It is age 30, about 30. And then they're going to take that and they're going to add John's out in left field 3.5 year ministry. And so they're going to get 33 years old, which, either way, whatever. So anyway, let's go to the genealogy of Jesus Christ according to Luke, which is different. Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 35 years of age, being the son. Now watch, this is in parentheses, so it was added by the translator. This is not the original, as was supposed. See, the original, I'm going to tell you, the original, before they added the virgin birth, the original story was that Mary and Joseph were his parents, period. He didn't have God as a dad or nothing like that. There was no virgin birth, nothing like that. But all the pagan gods have a human mommy and a daddy that's a god, period. That's all. Every pagan Roman god has a daddy's the god, and then he gets the earth mommy pregnant, everyone. So I believe that was added to satisfy the Romans. Anyway, so the original Gospels said that Joseph and Mary gave birth, Joseph fathered Jesus. So the original said Jesus, being the son of Joseph. You see, because that shouldn't be there. They're showing you it's in parentheses. It was added. So the original said Jesus was being the son of Joseph, the son of Heli. Remember that, Heli, kind of like helix. But remember that Joseph's daddy is Heli. What did Matthew say? Remember? Who did Matthew say the daddy of Joseph was? Remember that? Now, apologists, if you watch these videos and you should watch them. Watch all these people try to explain this away. They're trying to say that, and what they'll try to say is that Joseph, they'll say a couple things. They'll say Joseph was actually Mary's mother, which is not true. By many accounts, I'm just going to show you. If I can find it, I have so many things up. I'm going to show you about. I knew this a long time ago. because I empty out people's houses. And one time I found this old lady died, and I found in her dresser drawer, because I have to empty out their houses. In the here it is. In the dresser drawer, she had, she was very Catholic, had Catholic stuff everywhere. But and she had this card. It was all crimpled up. It was like she had it in her hand for 100 years. And it was a card of Saint Anne. And I thought, who's Saint Anne? Well, Saint Anne is supposedly Mother Mary's mother. So Saint Anne is Jesus' grandma. And I thought, that is so weird. She is, and you know what the story on her is? Mary's mother. And I thought, this is sad. She's praying to Jesus' grandmother to pass the message on to Jesus, or maybe Mary, to pass it on to Jesus, to pass it on to God. And who is Saint Anne? This is Jesus, supposedly Jesus' grandmother. And the story goes, the Catholic story goes, is that Mother Mary, Jesus' mother, she was an only child because her mom couldn't give birth. So Mary's mom had this miracle birth of Mary. Okay, so she got pregnant by a miracle, and she had Mary, and it was the only child. And so that is going to debunk, in a way, because there's I'm going to show a couple other passages that are actually in Scripture that kind of back this up, that Mary was an only child, right? So because some people say, well, the bloodline's going down through Mary because Mary didn't have any siblings, and therefore Mary's dad couldn't pass down his heritage through a male. And you know what? Don't matter. Yes, because remember, back in Leviticus or Deuteronomy, one of them, one of the patriarchs died without having any sons. Remember that? And there was only women, and the women were speaking up saying, hey, just because our dad didn't have any sons, our portion of the inheritance is not going to you guys. And they said, yeah, she's right. So they changed the law in the Old Testament to where if the guy doesn't have any sons born, then the inheritance does go, whether it's land or whatever, goes to the women, to the daughters. But it doesn't mean that daughter gets plopped onto the family tree as a patriarch. So they're saying, so apologists will say, because if you don't know this, you might believe it. They're going to say, well, Mary's parents didn't have, she was the only child, which kind of looks like it. As a matter of fact, I'll show you. Now, this is Catholic tradition. By the way, who is Saint Anne? So this is supposed to be Jesus' grandmother, Mother Mary's mom. Anne is the patron saint of unmarried women, housewives, women in labor, grandmothers, childless people, because she was childless till Mary was born, apparently. Equestrians. They ride horses? Anyway, lace makers, miners, the poor, and all that. And so my point is, if they try to tell you that, as a matter of fact, here, look. According to Christian apocryphal and Islamic tradition, Saint Anne was the mother of Mary, the wife of Joachim, all right, a maternal grandmother of Jesus. Mary's mother is not named in the canonical gospel. So her name isn't in there, Saint Anne. But I'm telling you, these Catholics, this lady had a card, and you could tell it was like a business card, but it had her picture on all that. And it was a prayer to this lady here for, I don't know, strength or something. I thought, that's sad. Anyway, like, she could have just gone to God, you know what I mean? But anyway, another story for another day. So if they try to say, well, now that is true, Mary probably wasn't a child, but doesn't mean she gets her name on the patriarch family tree now. She'll get the inheritance. You know what I mean? She'll get the inheritance because they made that a law. But anyway, so let's go back. So we're going to do the genealogy of Jesus Christ according to Luke now. So we'll continue. being as he was supposed. So he is, the original story said he was the son of Joseph, the son of Heli. Remember Heli? There was a different name. I'll just show you real quick. Matthew had a different name. Well, actually, we'll go over that because I got them written. I got them side by side. You'll see. But anyways, that's a different name. But they're talking about the same Joseph. They're talking about the same Joseph, being the son of Joseph, because that's another thing the apologists will do. They'll try to tell you that Mary's father was Joseph, which we just showed you it's not. And then they'll try to say, so because Mary didn't have brother or sister, the bloodline's going through Mary, through her dad. And so it goes from Mary's dad to Jesus. Nope. That's wrong too. That is not true. Anyway, son of Heli, son of Matat, the son of Levi, the son of Melchi, the son of Jani. See, are any of these familiar from the list I just read? Nope. The son of Joseph, the son of Matthias, the son of Amos, the son of Nahum, the son of Elsi, the son of Nagai, the son of Maath, the son of Matthias, the son of Simeon, the son of Josek, the son of Joda, the son of Joanan, the son of Risa. See, they're all sons, right? The son of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, the son of Neri, the son of Malachi, the son of Aldai, the son of Kosam, the son of Elaman, the son of and that's that ancient city in Mesopotamia, the son of Josiah, the son of Eleazar, the son of Joram, the son of Matat, the son of Levi. They use this name twice, but I'll show you that anyway. I think they just had that name. That might be from the other one. The son of Simeon, the son of Judah, the son of Joseph, the son of Jonam, the son of Elkim, son of Judah, son of Joseph. Let's see, son of Meliah, son of Menah, son of Mattiah, son of Nathan, son of David. Now here's where something really goes wrong here. Because according to the Old Testament prophecy, I might have them up, but I don't want to look for it right now. You can look it up. Who does the Messiah comes from? It comes from the bloodline of King David through his son Solomon. And in Luke here, they just took an off ramp, and they just got, forget if all these are wrong, okay? For even if these were all right, they still right here went wrong, because the Old Testament Messiah that's prophesied comes from the bloodline of King David through his son Solomon, and this not through Nathan. So disqualified. Anyway, the son of Jesse, the son of Obed, the son of Boaz, the son of Selah, the son of Nashon, the son of Amimadad, the son of Admin, the son of Arni, the son of Hezron, the son of Perez, the son of Judah, the son of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham, the son of Terah, the son of Nahor, the son of Serug, the son of Ruah, the son of Peleg, the son of Eber, the son of Shelah, the son of Canaan, the son of Arphaxad, the son of Shem, Noah, Lamech, Mahalalel, Canaan, Enos, Seth, son of Adam, son of God. So this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Now, Matthew's account skips all this. Matthew skips all this, which you can, because really doesn't matter what happens before King David shows up. Because here's who out of all these people, forget all these, because all these really gets to David. So it doesn't really matter if because obviously you're going to come from these people in order to get to David. So here's actually kind of around where I think they start at Abraham. Where's Abraham? Right here. So Matthew starts at Abraham to show you going through David. So here's where, so in other words, Matthew skips all this, and you can. Here's where you really have to start here at David. But for some reason, Matthew started way ahead of time. Luke started all the way back to Adam and Eve. Matthew started at Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Anyway, so there's the two accounts. Now let's compare them. First, we're going to go in Matthew. And there's a big problem with Matthew. A lot of problems here. So here's what they want to tell you, because at the end, then they said, "Oh, it's so magical. It's just so wonderful. Look." Well, yeah, if you just add and subtract names and just double up names, yeah, you can make 14, 14, 14 out of my family tree too if you want, or yours. But anyway, I'm going to show you. So Matthew 1, 1 through 17, what we just read. You have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judas. All right, here's you again. Oh, look at that. There's King David. They want to show how special this bloodline is, right? Somebody took a lot of time to do this, and it spread like wildfire. So you have 14 generations, right? From Abraham, which I just showed you, Abraham. Matthew started Abraham, and he went through King David. So that all the generations from Abraham to David is 14 generations. There is no prophecy of that. They're making something out of this that's, I'm going to show you. Then, now at least he's on the right track with Solomon, because Luke goes from David to his brother, to Solomon's brother Nathan, which is a big problem. But anyway, so you're on the right track, David, 14 generations. Okay, no prophecy about that, but that's okay. You got Solomon, Rehoboam, all this, okay. Then it says, look, all the way down to Jeconias. And it says, from David until the carrying away into Babylon, 14 generations. Wow, isn't that amazing? If this is right, oh boy, we're really onto something, right? Then you got another 14. Jeconias all the way down to Jesus. And from the carrying away into Babylon and Christ are 14 generations. From David until, okay, but they fudged the numbers here. They repeated Jeconias twice, because this is supposed to be 13. Amon, Josias, Jeconias. 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 Ruh-roh. So they fudged the numbers there. They used Jeconias twice just to make it 14, 14, 14. They don't have to do that. They don't have to do a lot of things that they're doing, actually, but they do. Let's keep going. Now, I'm going to show you Luke's, and Luke's got a big problem in his. And as a matter of fact, so remember, Luke, remember it said, Luke, son of Joseph, was the son of Heli, right? All right. Let's see. And by the way, they go opposite. Instead of going front to back, they went back to front, just to confuse you a little bit more. Yeah, so he says, son of Heli. Joseph was the son of Heli. That's in Luke's version. We're going to go over Luke now next. So as you can see, they went from Jesus back to Adam and Eve and Luke, and here they went the other way from Abraham. They went the other direction. You see, they're going frontwards to backwards frontwards to backwards in one, and they're going backwards to frontwards in the other. So you don't notice this. If you're going A to Z, you're saying ABC's the frontward to backward, A to Z. You might not notice if somebody says Z through A backwards. You know what I mean? Because you really don't have that memorized. So it'll take a lot longer to catch this because one went from ancient history to the present, and the other one went from the present back to ancient history. So you can't compare them side by side unless you write them all down on a piece of paper. I mean, anyway, let's see. So where is it? Here it goes. Remember, now it says Jacob, the father of Joseph. Now, the one that had the mom, that name's closer to the mother Mary. Joachim is supposed to be Mother Mary's dad. She's supposed to be the dad. Joachim's supposed to be the dad of Mary. And okay, Joachim, remember? So let's go back to that list. Find that list. There. Oops. Blackout. Maui blackout. All right. Jeconia, Jacob. So it would be closer. Matthew would be closer because his is Jacob was his probably Jacobia, right? Instead of, I don't have it on here. But anyway, so Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. You can look at the two, Hezron, Arni. Here goes, it goes wrong right here. So you can, I can put this list up on a you can just look at this side by side, and they don't match. And as a matter of fact, you could take both of these and match it up with the Genesis bloodline, because they do give the bloodline in Genesis. I was going to go over that too, but getting kind of long here. So you got Matthew. Now, so just look at this. Abraham. See the Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Perez. Perez is Pharez here. Hezron. Arni is Ram. Arni. Abimedad, Admin. Nesham, Abimedad. Nasham. See, they got them mixed up. Salmon, Boaz, Obed, David, Jesse. Then up here, the bloodline cannot come through Nathan. It has to go from King David. Oops, I'm caught up on something here. The prophecy says King David, the Messiah will come from the bloodline of King David through his son Solomon. Well, Luke has King David through the bloodline of Nathan. So right here, it ain't going to match up. This isn't going to work. Joseph, Jesus. Do you see that asterisk? Because they don't know what Joseph they're talking about, right? Yeah, right. He's saying Joseph is the daddy. Mary's the mommy, Joseph daddy. And then Jesus. They're not really sure. Anyway, but still, they don't match. Look. Eleazar, Matan, Jacob, Joseph, Jesus. Matat. Just, I don't know if you can see them both at the same time. So here you have Matan, Jacob. Here you have, you don't even have a Matan. You have a Matat, a Mathat, a Mathan. You see that? Mathan, Jacob, Joseph, Jesus. Mathat, Heli, Joseph, Jesus. Now we know that Joseph, his dad's name is not Heli. So they don't know who this Joseph is. They're saying, well, maybe it's Mary's dad. No, it isn't. The dad's name is what? Close to Jacob. It's not Jacob, though. Joseph's dad is not Jacob. It's Jacoby or whatever. But it's close enough, right? It's Jacob without the I on it. So, but that's pretty close. So let's look here. Actually, let me pick up. A second. Let me shut some of these. Find the one I want. So anyway, the whole list is different. Both of them, the whole list is different. Now, here's something that's very interesting. In one of the bloodlines, they have 5 women, I think. 5. If I can find the tab. So you're not supposed to have the women in the bloodline. So you can't have Mary in the bloodline, and you can't have the other women. So in Matthew, they included, was it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 5. He included 5 women in the genealogy. All right, you can't do that. And do you know what 5 women he included? All that had sexual, every one of them had like a tainted reputation with sex. Some type of sexual, what would you call it? Like where the people look at you bad. What prompted Matthew? So not only are the names all screwed up, they're not even getting people's dads or what order they're in. They're trying to make it 14, 14, 14. So they're just adding and doubling people. But he also put in 5 women. Did you notice? Now, what prompted Matthew to include a prostitute, Rahab, a woman pretending to be a prostitute, Tamar? Remember that she pretended to be a prostitute and had well, we'll go through all of them. All of them, I guess when you read the story, you just might raise an eyebrow, right? So Rahab was the prostitute, remember, that helped the helped those people take over. She threw the red cloth out the window or whatever. Rahab the prostitute. Is that her, right? Anyway, either way, Rahab the prostitute. And then it was Tamar, the one who pretended to be a prostitute so she could have sex with Judah. Because they you know the story. So because all the 3 sons, 2 died and the third one he hid from her. So anyway, in order to have that bloodline, she dressed up as a prostitute and had sex with Judah. Yeah, Judah. And anyway, he got totally busted. I mean, and back then, prostitutes are not the problem. It was not paying the prostitute was the problem. The temple even had prostitutes for the priest. So prostitution was 100% acceptable. There's nothing wrong with being a prostitute back then. They had them in the temple, male and female. So it wasn't that she was a prostitute. The problem was that Tamar trapped him and busted him out. Anyway, the problem was that he was worried that people were going to think he didn't pay her. But anyway, so you have Rahab, the prostitute, Tamar, Ruth, a sexually forward widow, and Bathsheba. You know her. She's the one that King David basically raped, got pregnant, killed the husband, and tried to lie his way out of everything, including killing her poor husband. And anyway, so this is who's in the bloodline. These 5 people. First of all, A, why would you put women in the bloodline? B, if all the women, 5 of them who are sexually, what did you say? It maybe a bad reputation. In this account of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Right, why would he do that? Who are the females in Jesus' lineage? There shouldn't be any, but there is. Gospel Matthew opens with Jesus' family tree and affirms for his Jewish audience that Jesus is the promised Messiah of the bloodline of David. But the gospel writer does something out of the ordinary. He includes 5 women in Jesus' genealogy, which you can't do. So both him and Luke's are invalid. They'd be thrown out of a court. They wouldn't even get to the court steps. They'd be turned around. Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Uriah's wife Bathsheba, and Mary. Oh, and Mary, by the way, Mary too, who was also, so you got Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, Uriah, Bathsheba, and Mary. And Mary, what is she? She's a pregnant virgin. Oh, also shamed by the public, or people asking questions. Why is she pregnant and all that? So all five of them, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, like of all people to illegally put in a bloodline, why would you put those in? Anyway, look, a couple more of these comparisons here, and I'll wrap it up. So here you go. So yeah, you cannot go through Nathan. So that right there, Heli. Now here's actually Joseph's dad is Heli. Luke has the dad right, but anyway, it's just so weird. It's just so weird how. Anyway, but so do you see how they got away with it? A, they did the begat, and just bored you to sleep. And B, one started at Adam and Eve and went forward to Jesus. The other one went Jesus back to Abraham. The one went forward. It's like looking at a grocery list forward and backwards. If somebody hands you two grocery lists, one's forward, one's backward, and it's got 50 things on it, do you think you're gonna read through it real quickly in 5 minutes and remember that there's differences when one's forward, one's backwards? I mean, I can right away pick out. Well, you could too. I like I said, some of these I'm reading were not on the other list. And so here's another. So these are all these prophecies. You can look them up. Jeremiah 33:15-17. In those days and at that time, I'll make a righteous branch sprout of David's line, and he will do what is just and right in the land. So yeah, it's got to come from the line of David. There's all kinds of you can find it, and so that's just a given. I mean, that's a no-brainer. People know that. Anyway, I'm just gonna see if I missed anything. Another prophecy from Jeremiah 23:5 says that he will come from the descendant of King David, and that's I think what I started with. So I think I might be done. Let me see here. Let me see. I'll shut that. Oh, and you know what's funny is and you know, if Jesus had been the Messiah, he would have shouted it from the rooftops. I mean, he wouldn't have beat around the bush or in fact, it's never even brought up. So yeah. Oh, and in John again, they're trying to say, yeah, well, he was born in Bethlehem, so he's got to be the Messiah. Like, what? Being born in Bethlehem doesn't even qualify you to be the Messiah, let alone prove it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so and another thing. So if you were going to claim to be royalty, right? So you're going to go over to England and knock on the door and say, I'm a descendant of King Charles. Well, they're going to want to see some paper and maybe do a well, actually now if you claim to be Jewish, they can do a blood test, a DNA test or something. They can tell by your blood if you're Jewish. That's what they do anyway. I don't know if it's for real, but anyway, they say they can tell that you're Jewish by your bloodline if they take a blood test. But they didn't have that back then. So what they're going by is the family tree and the daddy. Always the daddy. So if say we're back in the, I don't know, 1500s and I'm claiming to be royalty and the bloodline of the queen or whatever, the first thing, or say there's somebody with a lot of money, a famous actor dies, and I say, hey, I'm that actor's, I'm the actor's granddaughter or whatever. Anybody you want to say that you're related to, the first thing they want is your family tree. Because they say you don't have DNA, okay? First thing they want to know is who's your mom and dad, who's their mom and dad. Go through your family tree and proved to us by your mom and dad, grandma, great grandma, great grandpa and grandpa, all that. So you're going to need a family tree. And if you, on one of those spaces where the dad's supposed to be, you leave it blank and say it's God, they'll crunch it up and throw it in the trash and tell you to leave, because you can't do that. You can't say God is your dad and prove that you're in the bloodline of King David. So can you imagine if Jesus is trying to say, I'm the bloodline from the bloodline of King David? And they say, okay, well, who's your dad? And if he says Joseph, he's in. He's Joseph, according to this thing, he is a descendant of King David through Solomon. Well, one of them. So here, where is that thing? They're not even matching anyway. Oh, here. In fact, I'm going to show you this. Here, so Matthew versus Luke. Luke's genealogy covers descendants from Abraham to David, backwards from Jesus to Adam. Matthew's descendants from Abraham to David, forward from Abraham to Jesus. So one goes forward, one goes backward. That gets you all confused. And in Luke, they trace Mary's line from King David to Jesus, and you can't do that through Nathan. Told wrong. And he, well, because he was writing to the Gentiles, and the Gentiles don't know any difference. Hey, Keto Cheeto, good to see you. So Luke's audience don't know any different. He's writing to the Gentiles. Now Matthew's writing to the Jews. He's got to be a little more careful. So, but since one goes forward, one goes backward, one starts at Adam and Eve, one starts at Abraham, and then Matthew traces Joseph's line from Solomon to Jesus through the king of Judah, and he wrote to the Jews. So this one's a little bit closer. I mean, if you had to pick one, this one's got more qualifications because it actually is going through Solomon. But you would have to have Joseph on as the daddy of Jesus in order to qualify to be the Messiah, because you can't test God to see if he's from the bloodline of David. You can't put him on the family tree. You'd be laughed out and disqualified, and then laughed out some more. So here it is. You can see the completely different list. Abraham, you can even count them. Where does Abraham start? Right here. So look at the different amount of people. Look at how many more names from Abraham. From Abraham to Jesus. And look at here from Abraham to Jesus. Anyway, it's confused. I say it's confusing on purpose. So, because if they had it twice in a row, both from Abraham to Jesus, you would read one, then you'd read the next, and you'd notice a lot sooner that something screwed up. So, yeah, Joachim is Joachim was Mary's mother, and who was the dad? That name here. According to it says Heli in Luke, and in there it says Jacob was Joseph's dad. So was Joseph's dad Jacob, or was it Heli, or was these two different Josephs? I don't know. Anybody's guess. But if this was in a court and you're trying to prove that Jesus is, you know, from the bloodline of David, you would lose in court. You would lose in court because it's if this was your evidence. I said now they do the yeah, here, you shrink this down. I'm just gonna wrap it up, say good night. Let's see here. There you go. Huh. Mary, Joseph, Heli. And you can't do that. Look. So yeah, they're saying here's Mary's bloodline. So when they go through, oh, here you're not. It's not. So when you go through Mary's bloodline, look, Mary's bloodline, you can't get that Helo or whatever his name is. That's Joseph's dad. You know what I mean? So you can't have a bloodline. You can't have. In fact, where is it? Where's Matthews? Anyway, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so here's the women. There's women in this one. So this is Matthew's bloodline. This is Matthew. So here's women up here. Like I said, you can't do that. Anyway, I think I've covered it all. And you'll see discussions about this. You'll see videos all about it. You can go look at other videos and watch how people try to fudge it and say, well, you know, they're going to Mary's bloodline, and it would say, well, then why is a woman in there? Anyway, well, it was so funny. One of the videos I saw, it was from 9 years ago. The guy was in, it was like a 3-minute video, very short. The guy's very calmly trying to tell you that that's not a contradiction, no, and all this other stuff. And he lied and lied and lied. And after 9 years, there was, I don't know, thousands and thousands of views and only 2 comments. The 2 comments were, how come there's no comments on here? Are you pulling the comments? I noticed there's this guy's lying. He named off a bunch of lies. And the other guy said, hey, this guy's, has he even read the Bible? So anyway, it was an apologist who was trying to explain it and did a bad job. And I guess they erased 9 years worth of comments. I mean, it just shows you something. But yeah, so here you'll see these. So yeah, look it up, see what people say. Watch how they try to explain it. I just showed you different ways they're going to try to explain it and how it's not true. So there's a lot of discussion about this over the many, many, many years. And they'll try to explain it away. They'll try to explain it away. Like I said, but there is one that would probably be a good one to watch. Who's not apologist. He's not an apologist. If I can find, here it is. This would probably be a good one right here. I'm going to put this link up because I guarantee he's going to debunk it good. I have confidence. Rabbi Tovi Singer. I don't know. It's been a long time since probably a year when it got up. I watch these usually as they come up. So yeah, it's been over a year. Been over a year since I watched this, but I will guarantee he's probably done a good job. I got it on mute. Let me see if I can just. I hate to put up a video without really watching it again and see what it's about, but I'll guarantee he does a good job. Genealogy and birth of Jesus debunked. That looks a lot older than 1 year old. But anyway, I'll put up this video because he'll probably do a good job. I trust he's gonna. Oops. But anyway, you can look at all the videos, all the other videos you want. There you go. There's a link for that. He'll debunk it good. Anyway, all right. Done deal. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off. It's good seeing you guys tonight. Keto. Makes me want to eat a Cheeto. I like Cheetos once in a while. Not very often, but I like them. So good night to Keto. Or Cheeto. Sorry. Good night to Cheeto. Good night to Calvin, also known as Livac. Or Livlac. I'm sorry, Nivlac. Good night to Grace. Good night to Omar. And anybody else that came in and joined us and you're listening on the replay. Thanks for listening on the replay. It was fun. And yeah, you gave me a thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up, a few of you. Appreciate that. All right. All right, good night, friends. Good night, Keto Cheeto. Love to you too. Yep. Well, you're welcome, Grace. Love, prayer, and blessings to you too. Oops. Got knocked off. So, anyway, a formal good night to everybody. Thanks for coming in. If you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay, and hope you all have a good rest of the evening or day or morning, wherever you're at. So, good night, all. Good night, friends. Shalom.